Tammy Mayberry has created the stamp set of my dreams. Finally, we have a stamp set that coordinates with Spellbinders dies that's perfect for making cards for the men in your life. The Masculine Tag stamp set coordinates with Spellbinders Labels 22 dies. And today on Stamp TV, I'm going to show you a quick and easy card with masculine appeal. Let me show you the tools and products you need to do this project. First, you're going to need the largest stamp from the new Masculine Tag set, and I'm using the husband greeting and the You Rock greeting. Then you're going to need some pattern paper, and I'm using a couple of patterns from the Sundance pattern paper pack. Then you're going to need some cardstock, and I made a small 4 1/4 inch square card base out of the chocolate brown cardstock. And then I have a piece of the layering weight white. This is the Gina K Designs 80-pound cardstock. And that's going to layer with that piece from Sundance. And then I also have another piece of the 80-pound layering white that I'm going to use for my focal image. Then you're going to need a quickie glue pen because we're going to do a little bit of paper piecing here. And for the paper piecing, you need some good sharp scissors, so I have the cutter bees. Then I have my Tim Holtz craft pick that I love to use for applying brads to cards. And I have a little piece of a mouse pad here that I like to use to cushion it. And then I have some assorted brads here. And I'm going to use the copper ones. This actually came out of the new Petals and Wings Stamp TV kit. Then I'm going to use some of the Memento Rich Cocoa ink. And I'm going to use some chocolate brown double-stitched ribbon, and this is the 5/8 of an inch. This is one of the more masculine ribbons in our collection. And to line up my greetings perfectly, I'm going to use the Stamp-A-Ma-Jig. So to get started, I'm going to begin by inking up this particular stamp, and I told you a couple of times before, if you don't have a big enough block, you can just use the storage panel, the binder sheet that comes with your stamp set, because the stamp will stick to it, and it's nice and big. And when you're using these bigger stamps, I like to stamp with the stamp up and the cardstock down, and I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to ink up the stamp using the Rich Cocoa ink. And with the stamp on its back, I can really see that I've got full coverage all over that stamp. There's no shallow areas. And then I'm going to ink this up just by laying the piece of cardstock down right onto the stamp gently, and then holding it down with one hand while I rub lightly just to make sure that the paper makes contact everywhere with the rubber stamp. It's a lot easier than using the block face down and trying to make sure you put an impression all over the cardstock. And there is my impression. It's just perfect. Then I'm going to use the greeting stamps here, and you find my little square block. Now I'm going to stamp the greetings onto my focal image, and I'm going to do that using the Stamp-A-Ma-Jig so I get a nice straight impression. So I'm going to create my imaging sheet using the word husband, and then I'm going to line that up where I want it. Replace the tool, remove the sheet, and stamp the word husband again. There we go. Now I want to put the words You Rock into that little section in the center, so I have the You Rock greeting here. And I'm going to create another place on this imaging sheet for the words You Rock in this corner, and ink that up, stamp it right in there, and now I'm going to line that up where I want it in the center there, and replace the tool, Ink it up again and stamp. There we go. You rock, husband. Now, I'm going to cut that out using the Cuttlebug. So I'm going to start with the A and the B plate, and then I'm going to line up my image. And that fits so nicely. And then use the C plate on top. And oops, what's nice about being able to see through the plate is you can see if you shift anything in the process. So there we go. And now I'm going to cut that out. Now I want to add a little interest to this, so I'm going to stamp this frame image one more time, and I'm going to stamp it onto some of the pattern paper. So I'm going to use the same rich cocoa ink and stamp this. Again, by laying this sheet of Sundance pattern paper on top and then lightly rubbing all over the surface. There we go. Now using my Cutter Bee scissors, I'm going to cut out the star and these two little ribbons, and then I'm going to cut out this entire frame around the outside. So to cut the frame out, I'm going to start by poking a little hole into the pattern paper to start it. And I'm going to cut the frame out first, very gently, making sure that I don't ruin this star in the process. So I'm going to get the star out of there. And once the star is out of there, then I can cut all of this out and the frame. Now I have my pieces cut out and I'm ready to apply them to my focal image, and I'm going to do that using the Quickie glue pen. I'm going to start with the frame. I'm just going to color with this glue right around the perimeter of the area that I want to glue. Just like that, like I was using a marker. Makes it very easy to glue intricate pieces onto a project when you use a little glue pen like this. And the glue comes out in such a precise way, so you don't have to worry about it bleeding outside of the lines. Okay. And now I'm going to place this little piece right on top. There we go. So pretty. Love how that looks. Okay. And then for this little wing right here, I'm going to just make sure, oh, that's stuck down pretty good. Okay. Now I'm going to start the star and do the same thing. Glue these little panels onto the star. That. And if you have a little bit sticking out, you can just add a little bit of glue in there, and that'll glue down. And then the bottom piece. It's really an effect that you can't get just by coloring in these parts of the image. By using pattern paper, it really creates such a neat focal wow. And then we're going to do this little one right here. These are tiny pieces. That's why this little glue pen is so fun to use, because you can really get into tiny little areas. And if it's not perfect, you can pick it back up and move it a little bit. Oops. Let's get that right into position there. There we go. And one more on this side. And there is my focal image. Now you can see there's two little white sections right there. What I thought I would do there, just to jazz it up a little bit, is put a little hardware on there. I like the way that looks on masculine cards, so I'm going to poke a little hole right there and pop a copper brad in. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to do all this before you actually attach it to your card base. One more there. And so there I have a little bit of hardware. Kind of moved my ribbon there a bit. Okay. And there's my focal image, ready to go. Now to assemble the card, I'm just going to tape these two pieces together. I like this background. It's very bright and cheerful. And it's not masculine or feminine. It can be used for any kind of card. And then a little piece of the double-stitched ribbon going across the center. And I'll put that on now before I attach it to my card base. Right in the center. And then add a little bit of tape on the back and just fold that over. Then you can flip it over again and make sure that you have it lined up the way you want it. And that whole thing is going to go onto this chocolate brown card base. Just like that. And now you can apply the focal image any way you want. You can tape it right down like that, or you can use some pop dots to pop it up a bit, which is what I think I'm going to do. So I'm going to use the 1/4 inch pop dots. I'm just going to put one on each corner here. One there. One there. One there. And one there. And what I like about using these pop dots is when you have ribbon on your card or you have brads that are sticking out like that, it just lifts the whole thing off of the card just enough so that it gives a little bit of room for those embellishments underneath. And there we have our finished card project. You rock, husband. And yes, he does. Don't limit yourself to masculine cards. You may have lots of other greetings in your collection that will fit perfectly in the open spaces in the masculine tag stamp set. Mix in some feminine pattern papers, and this set can do double duty.